come to this video for women's health and pregnancy, and there are a few important notes first of all for those of you who are pregnant. And the most important thing is to keep within your own limits. After the postures you shouldn't feel tiredness, you should feel a refreshment and improvement in your energy. And most importantly is the extension of your spine rather than compressing the uterus, because the baby should always have lots of movement, and also your breathing shouldn't become constricted because we want to keep a continuous flow of oxygen to the baby. But you know, these postures are really going to be very beneficial. So just let me double check here. So try and shorten the duration that I suggest in the video to meet your needs, so you're not going to get overtired or fatigued. Keep within your capacity, and the main effects for those of you that are pregnant are the extension of the spine. So it's keeping that spine in that concave position, you know, not coming into a more of a rounded area, which is going to cause compression towards that lower uterus and towards constricting your breathing. So the most important thing is no interruption to your breathing. Keep your breathing going, no holding the breath, keeping that diaphragm nice and comfortable and at ease. No compressing of the uterine system, and using a blanket as well. So when we're in the sitting forward bends, it's important that you boost your lower spine with this nice chunky blanket, which is 3 to 4 inches thick, and then you're going to perch yourself. So the first posture that I'm going to show you, which is a sitting forward posture, is going to help ease this part of the body. So you're sitting on the edge of the blanket and you bring this heel. So this is typically for those of you that are pregnant, using the folded blanket. And when you're doing the forward bends when you're pregnant, you can use a nice tie or something to help stretching, so you're not over stretching, and then you can focus on the spine, which is what we want to do when we're pregnant. Pushing my chest forward, keeping my head up, and that's how I want you to proceed with these sitting forward bends. Okay, and then later on we're going to be doing some butterfly movements, and again I want you to use the blanket, those of you that are pregnant, and keeping those heels as close to the perineum, the groin area as possible, and no leaning forward either. It's just a stretching of the spine that's important when you're pregnant. And the other one is the tortoise. So when you're in the tortoise, again, use the blanket and just keeping those legs really nice and keeping that spine upright, okay, and keeping within your limits. So the tortoise is where we're going to move these arms underneath, but rather than doing that, just practice sitting like this. And you can also do that lying on the floor with your legs on a wall and just allowing the legs to come down. That's also acceptable. Just let me double check before we move on to the main postures. Oh yes, and finally it's called the Supta Baddha, which is a variation on the butterfly, and you're going to use pillows for that. So you can rest your head on that one, and you can put one across here, particularly as you get bigger towards the when you're a lot bigger. So you can have this pillow relaxing the whole of the spine. So this is the variation on the butterfly, and then that just relaxes you a little bit more, and you can do a whole of the posture, but just doing it with the cushions. So enjoy. Good afternoon everybody, I'm Lorraine, and these sessions are particularly for women, and particularly those who are over 3 months pregnant. Before 3 months pregnancy, so long as you're used to doing yoga, you can more or less do most of the postures, apart from the ones that are putting a strain, you know, the ones that we do for toning abdominal muscles, the lying twists where you're pulling your legs up and down, because that's obviously too much of a strain for that lower abdominal area. So firstly, what we have to do is have loose clothing like me. I'm outside, so I'll probably end up taking this off, and trousers are nice and loose and light fitting. So most of this information, I've been doing yoga for about 20 odd years, and most of this information I gathered from Geeta.S Iyengar, whose father was a very famous and eminent yoga teacher, as did Geeta became very eminent in teaching yoga throughout the world. And she combined her knowledge of yoga with Ayurveda. So she stresses the most important thing, particularly if you're new to yoga, it's not just about a physical exercise and stretching, it's also about training the mind. And particularly when we're pregnant and before we become pregnant, it's always great if we can keep a calm mind and don't overdo things. And particularly with these exercises, you might see me do something. Do it to a much lesser degree if you've never done it before, because your body will take time to adjust, it will take time to stretch. And listen to the body, this is what she's saying. So with each posture, try and relax and try and take your mind in your body, particularly to those parts of the body where you might feel that extra stretch, you know, even tightness and a little bit of discomfort. Anything that's really painful, well, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, go back to the easier stage, but keep practicing, you know. And these exercises are not just good for when you're pregnant, they're really good after you've had a rest after the pregnancy for at least 2 weeks. And I will make another video which the recommendations, which exercises to do. But, you know, for the whole of our lives, you know, it's mostly toning up these abdominal organs, the uterus, the ovaries, the kidneys, all the intestines, the liver, the stomach, everything's going to be toned. You're going to get more circulation there, greater health. So things like after you've had the baby, you know, everything's going to go back into a beautiful, healthy position. And, you know, if you persevere with these postures, try and do them every day and at the same time, so then it becomes a wonderful habit. And basically I became really hooked on yoga after I had Emma, my second child. And, you know, my inspiration was just that I needed something to get my energy level back, you know, to get my body feeling strong again, and it certainly fulfilled that. And I went on, you know, to do a 3-year course in yoga and qualified in 1999, and I haven't looked back since. So let's just double check here. So again, she's saying when the baby becomes bigger, do the postures to a much lesser degree. Some you can stop altogether if it just feels too uncomfortable. Listen to your body, particularly today if you've not done yoga before. So the sitting forward bends, which is, we're going to do 3 sitting forward type of bends. So we're going to be lying on a mat, and always have, when you're doing yoga, always have a nice warm blanket, chunky blanket because we might need that later, particularly when we're doing the relaxation and the meditation at the end. So have something like that at hand, and also it's really good for boosting the base of the spine in lots of the postures. So I always make sure I have that at hand. Make sure you've got some water at hand. You can press the pause button and have a rest between the postures if you feel that's what your body needs. Okay, so a lot of these sitting forward bends, nearly everything we're going to do today improves your digestive system. So these would have been good to do before you got pregnant, and particularly, you know, in the first few months of pregnancy, you could have done these to help relieve that gastric build-up of acid in the stomach. And they help eliminate all the toxins, so things like constipation, which a lot of women suffer with in the early stages of pregnancy, and even after pregnancy. You know, our hormones create a lot more stiff stools. You know, it's part of our hormonal makeup, so the more things we can do to help that, and a nice healthy diet, obviously. So these, the last three postures that we do make a lot more room for the baby and aid more of a natural delivery. So you're less likely to have intervention. They're going to tone the abdominal organs, and they bring a lot more flexibility and health into the pelvic area and the perineal part of the body, and also helping very much this waistline area and the lower back, helping to tone that up. And that's important for when the baby gets bigger. If those muscles with these exercises, if they get really toned up and really full health in your back, and the muscles are nice and strong, then you know, afterwards everything's just going to go back, you know, the way it was, without any problems. And a lot of these exercises help prevent hernias and prolapses and things like this. So continue them, you know, a couple of weeks after the birth as well. So the first exercise we're going to do, it's termed in the Indian language Yanu Sirsasana. Okay, so and this helps also to relieve a persistent low fever. So if you come down with some cold or something, if you do this and you try and do it for a much longer period of time, for about 5 minutes on each side. So with yoga we work one side of the body usually, and then the other side. So we're going to start by sitting in, this is called Dandasana. So Dandasana is where we're just sitting with the hands, palms pushed into the floor. So we're going to stretch all these energy pathways. So we have energy meridians running through each side of the body, and we're helping to open those meridians, so that's going to help relieve tiredness as well. And the other benefits of this posture is it helps to tone our kidneys and strengthens that waist. So just sitting for about 5 seconds, the toes are pointed up, and just relax into it, but keeping the posture. See how my shoulder blades are being drawn to each other, opening up my chest. Breathing just nice and gently in and out through the nose. Most of the time we should breathe in and out through the nose if possible. See how I'm stretching open these meridians, pushing my palms down, hands by hips. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to bend our right knee so that the foot comes to sit with the heel in my left groin. And again, you're sitting nice and tall, and you start to just lean forward. So just go as far as you can. I'm trying to aim to have my breastbone in line with that left thigh, and then I'm just leaning so it's from the hips. Just slowly, slowly leaning forward, keeping the head up. And then see if you can take hold of the toes of that left foot. I know it's going to be difficult for some of you, but eventually you will get there. Just grasp anywhere, keep your head up, and just holding that again for about 15 seconds this time. And just use some positive affirmations. Like Geeta said, you know, use the mind to relax the body. So you could talk to your body, you know, asking that lower back to just ease off a bit. Peace. I am peace. You'd send that peace into the baby, into the womb. The baby's nervous system is totally connected with ours. So when we're relaxed, the fetus relaxes. And when the fetus relaxes, its heartbeat relaxes, its circulation improves. It feels into that oneness. And you just feel into the oneness of creation. Breathing steadily and evenly. As soon as you feel that things are a little bit too much for you, just come out, or do it to a lesser degree. You know, you can just come out and do it to a lesser degree. Maybe have a little clock in front of you so you can time yourself. You might just need to work up to that 15 seconds. Okay, so now we're going to see if we can go a little bit further even, okay? So we're going to see if we can bring the hands, and you probably work your way up to this, but some of you that's already been doing yoga will manage it. So it's my right wrist I'm going to try and take hold of. Now if it's first thing in the morning, your body is a lot stiffer. So now my body is really nice and relaxed. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I'm just going to see if I can relax my head down. And as you hold the posture, your body does relax. It gives a little bit more each time. And you can visualize that energy coming up the sole of the foot and then down the body. You know, we talked about the meridians. Well, the meridians carry energy. And the energy has been measured by scientists, and they call it chi energy. Letting go. Use the breath. And it's good to practice using the breath because that'll come in handy when you go into labour. So I've been holding that posture for a lot longer than the first position. So the first position, if you remember, I was a 45-degree angle. This one I've gone all the way down. And when you go down, it's your head that rests down, hopefully on that left knee or beyond. And then go back. Just relax your legs a little bit. Give yourself a breather. Keeping tall out of the hips, pushing those palms down, helping to tone those kidneys, helping to relax you. A lot of these postures bring a lot of calmness into your mind, into your body. And then we're going to do that now with the left leg. So you probably see a little bit better how far up I'm pushing. That heel's going right into the top of the groin, top of the thigh. And I'm positioning myself over that right leg. And then just coming down into position 1, which we just hold for about 15 seconds, only if you can. Keeping that head up. And the spine sort of does this. My spine doesn't look like it's doing that, but as I sink down, the middle of the back comes down, and that's helping to relieve tension throughout the spine. So pushing your chest forward, and these exercises will be good when you start your breastfeeding or feeding the baby or carrying the baby. You'll find that these exercises relieve that those back problems, those stiffnesses. Breathing in and out through the nose. All is well. Visualize that beautiful baby growing healthily. Your body totally keeping healthy. Gaining more confidence with these postures as well. It brings a lot of confidence and courage. If you suffer with headaches, do these postures as well. It helps to relieve your headaches, your nervous tension. And then relaxing down, taking hold of that left wrist. Breathing that energy of relaxation up the leg and down the spine. Letting go of any negativity, any stress, melting away with the breath. Breathing the energy of the earth up the leg and down the spine. I am love. Keep your head down. I'm lifting my head so that you can hear me. I am love. Send that wave of love to the baby. I am joy. I am happiness. And all is well. Try and relax as much as you can when you're holding the postures and using that breath. Sitting up nicely, just breathing now, just allowing that energy to settle again. So sitting in, this is called the Tadasana. Peace, I am peace. I'll introduce you to the peace prayer. May peace prevail on earth. May peace be in our homes and countries. And then I visualize this peace in each cell of my body. May our missions be accomplished to lead peaceful, happy, productive lives. We thank you, guardian deities and guardian spirits. And that sends a beautiful wave of positive vibration through our body. So we're going to repeat those movements now, but this time there's a slight variation. Only if you can, and if your joints are flexible enough, you're bringing this joint here up into the lap. So my ankle joint is in the lap, and again I'm taking my spine all the way up, making sure the toes are pointing up. And this time we just point the chin. We're pointing the chin like so, and keeping the head up, keeping that 45-degree angle. If you can't bend the foot like this, if it's too stiff, just go back to doing what you could do before. So Goi Sensei was the master, a bit like the master Jesus, who introduced that world peace prayer after the Second World War. He worked very, very arduously to become at one with himself, with the universe, what we would call enlightened. He became an enlightened being, and he became so close to that spiritual realm that his guardian spirits, what we call in the West guardian angels, were able to communicate with him, and they said, you know, your mission now is to tell people that this is possible, that God is an energy field, you know, it's the life force, it's what created the Big Bang, whereas our angels or our guardian spirits and the group that we have, deities who are in charge of many, many thousands of groups of spirits. These are the ones that we can commune with, that we can communicate those prayers, those thoughts. So when we're feeling in a place of despair or fear, anxiety, you know, we can talk to these angels, we can pray and ask for their assistance and their guidance. And this is something you can do, you know, right throughout your pregnancy and the delivery, you know. And this is what Geeta says. She says the pain lessens greatly when we're relaxed and when we can really calm ourselves, and praying is a brilliant way of calming ourselves, using these positive affirmations that we're going to do today, and then relaxing down. Again, this time it's the chin. The chin is coming down towards the knee, towards the shin. And again, we're stretching. This time the right wrist, we're going to take hold. So we will have many different angels with us throughout our incarnation here on Earth. And they're always our ancestors, so we are connected to them through our DNA. And you know, they absolutely respond and help us to a greater degree when we communicate with them. So try and relax into these postures, try and let go. So we're holding these ones for a bit longer than the first position. These are for about half a minute to a minute, and work your way up to that. So this one, when I first started doing it, created a lot of time to get used to having that. So we're just going to pause for a moment and see you in a moment. Hello, so we're ready to do the other leg now, so left leg. See if you probably be able to see me a bit better here. So yes, it is a little bit stiff at the beginning, and we're putting that left ankle into the right groin. And as before, yeah, try and bring the knee round. You probably couldn't see that. But you're trying to bring this knee towards that right leg. And also just be aware, you know, to try and keep the balance over the thigh that you're stretching along. So to start with, it's the 45-degree angle. So I'm stretching from my hips, just relaxing, releasing. Keeping that 45-degree angle, keeping my head back, keeping my chest forward, relaxing, releasing, letting go. I am infinite gratitude, just having that gratitude for this body that's worked tirelessly since we were born. All the stresses and the strains we put it through, it's brought us through all that beautifully. So the lower abdominal muscles are getting compressed, and so we're breathing just normally, but it's creating a type of a massage there in the lower abdominal area, so you can understand everything's being compressed here. And if it starts to feel uncomfortable for you, you know, as you get bigger, well, don't do this posture, or just do it in a different way. So the second part is where we allow ourselves to take hold of that left wrist, bringing the chin towards that right shin. And I'm going to allow you to continue that, and I'm going to show you an easier way. So if you're comfortable in that position, you continue with that position while I talk those who aren't comfortable with it through an easier version. And the easier version is where you just bring your chest onto the thighs, put your arms underneath, and you just slide your legs down slowly, slowly. And then when you feel a gap forming between the chest and the thighs, you relax down then. So you can do both ways. You can start by relaxing the head down, and then move on like we did to the second one, where you're relaxing your chin down. And when you're down there, it's the same visualization, breathing up through the soles of the feet, up the legs and down the spine into the head. So just continue with that, keep going. I'm just going to check my notes. Okay, I'm going to start on the left leg because you can see me a little bit better on this side. So again, we start with this Dhanasana, stretching the chest, bringing those shoulder blades. Just a nice relaxed breathing. Feeling into that nice weeks, and opting for the easier option if that's the best for you. And just slowly, day by day, your body will give a little bit more. The most important thing is that you enjoy it, you know, and you get that feeling of satisfaction that you're making your body, you know, more able to cope with carrying the baby, more able to cope after the delivery, and that you actually have some techniques that you can use, you know, to keep your energy strong, to keep your energy levels high. Obviously for the first 2 weeks you need total relaxation and a lot of support and help from other people, but slowly, you know, don't be afraid of asking for that help. Make use of your relatives, those people that want to visit you. Just say, well, you know, I'm going to leave you guys with the baby for half an hour, I'm going to go up and do my yoga. You know, choose a time which is best for you, when your energy is more able to cope with that yoga. 2 weeks after the delivery, not before. Okay, so this one is a little bit different. This is the final one of these sitting forward bends. So we're going to bend this leg and we're going to bring this foot like so. So the left heel is by the left hip and the toes are pointing back. And then we keep the thighs together. And again, we're stretching that spine up. And this is where your folded blanket comes in use, because if you really find this stressful on that knee, on that ankle joint, you can use a nice chunky folded blanket. In fact, I've got 2 blankets there, and you can sit on it, and that takes away. So that takes away that pressure. Bring that so that the legs are together. Okay, so you can try either way. Okay, whichever's better for you. I mean, for me, it's easier actually just to sit on the whole of the foot. For me, I found that's the best way, but I wouldn't recommend that. Just keep your foot at the side and use the blanket. So then what we do is, just as before, we're going to grasp that right foot this time. And we're going to keep the head up on that angle, just like we did before. Just skip these if you're finding them too difficult, or use the blanket. And it's really important to keep the focus, the balance is here through that right thigh. So both hips are pointing towards the right foot. Try and keep both thighs touching. We're going to hold now, and then we're going to bend forward, bringing this chin down towards that right shin. And this is where you can bring the hands around, taking hold of that left wrist. And these have benefits as well. So this helps when you have a lot of sprains with your ankles and your knees. This helps to correct that imbalance. So it's really good for the ankles and the knees, and also for those abdominal muscles. And again, you hold that for 30 seconds to 1 minute. And the other tip here is, like I said, you know, the gravity has to stay in the middle of the thigh that you're coming down over. And also, it's almost like your armpits are being pulled forward. So when you've recovered, we'll do that on the other side. So it's thighs together, stretching. Breathing in, so practicing breathing in where you can feel that stiffness in the body. Quite often I feel a big strain here doing these postures, which is just at the back of the hamstring that runs by the underneath the knee there. So we've got a big sort of ligament that runs all the way up, and we're really stretching that to a big degree here. So you can breathe in where you can feel that discomfort. And this is good training for when you get your labour pangs. We're not going to call them pain because, you know, when I had my first baby, for me it was more like, it's like a gripiness, you know, because what the muscle is doing, it's contracting, releasing, contracting, release. So it's a little bit when you have gripe, you know, and it's a similar thing to that. So if you think in those terms, it's a labour pang, you know, and we're just going to relax our mind. We're going to send the energy, the breath to that pang, you know, and to relax into it. It's a good thing because the more that we have the panging, you know, the more the baby is coming down that birth canal. And the other thing is, don't be afraid of making noise, you know. In nature, the animals, you know, they will, you know, to go with a groan, to groan with the pain. And that's fine as well. And you can say to your midwife, you know, I'm going to make some noise to help ease myself through this pain. Focus on the noise, whatever noise comes out, and work with it, with the breath, with the deep breathing. And then coming forward. So we're going to take the wrist of that left hand. Bringing the chin towards that shin. Another place where you might find discomfort is right at the top of that ligament. Breathing in, bringing that head up, stretching with those armpits. And you build up, you know, you can build up how long you hold these postures for. You might just start with a few seconds, you know, you might just start with this easy posture, you know, and work on to having the legs. You know, another way is just taking the leg back like that, you know, you don't have to have it pushed in. That's the ideal position, but if that's easier for you and you can stretch over, well, do what's best for you. You know, just experiment and you know, think of it as a fun session and your time for you and the baby, you know, because that's important as well. I know that they advise, you know, playing some nice music as well. Whatever you like, the baby will like. And it's nice to play music while you're doing the yoga. So just relaxing again. into that Dhanasana. And now we're on part 2. So these exercises, the main benefits are relaxation and soothing of the brain, helping menstrual disorders. If you're pregnant, you won't be having any menstruation, but you know, afterwards when it resumes, it will help bring everything back into a good cycle again. And they also help prevent accumulation of fat in the lower abdominal area, toning abdominal organs, improving our excretory function, strengthening the spine and the muscular system of the lower back, strengthening the waist area, relieving backaches and rheumatism. So our first one is where we come into a kneeling position. Well, it's more of a squat actually. So when I first did this, because I broke my left kneecap, I'll just come down a bit so you get a better view of me. I broke my left kneecap in 2013, and basically all the ligaments here were badly affected, so my right leg took a lot of strain and I became quite imbalanced. But just practicing this posture has helped rebalance, so now I feel in this position totally balanced. And then stretch yourself up so you're lifting the spine, so my thighs are together, my ankles are together. And you don't have to hold it for very long. Just breathing. So for about 10 to 15 seconds. Now if you're very large, what you can do is just relax your head down towards the knees like this, and just bring your arms around the legs and just relax like that. But if you can, you can lift the arms up. Obviously towards the end of the pregnancy it might just be a lot easier just to bring the arms round and hold the legs and just relax your head down. But for now we're trying to strengthen the lower part of the back and the waist. And you'll feel the strain is here, the strain is in the back, it's not in the uterus or the abdominal organs. The abdominal organs are they're getting a nice massage. Again, relaxing. I am infinite joy. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then if you have to, come down and have a rest. If not, if you're quite happy, just bringing the arms behind the ankles and grasping behind the ankles. And then that sort of changes where the weight of the body slightly changes. More pressure in the lower part of the body now. So it's helping to tone that part of the body. More of a leaning back position. And you can feel in the lower back as well. And again, just holding it for 10 to 15 seconds. A bit windy here now. finally, see if you can come down and have a rest in that Dandasana. But if you can, what you do is you're going to bring the hands behind like so. Keeping the legs touching, keeping in that squat. You know, you could use a blanket if you're finding the squat difficult. So what I'm doing is I'm clasping my hands like this, or you can clasp at the lower arms. And then what I'm going to do, keeping those thighs together, clasping, and I'm going to stretch forward so that the weight is coming, and this is stretching, it's putting quite a bit of tension now into my ankles. If you're clasping, having the arms straight in this way, you can bring the shoulder blades towards each other. And the idea is to sort of looking down so that the face is parallel. That does put quite a bit of strain on those feet. It's pulling us up a little bit more. And then sit back into a well-earned rest. Have a total relax. Relax your lower back. Relax your legs. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. So the next one is called the butterfly. So I'm going to leave you for a moment. Welcome back. Okay, so this is called Baddha Konasana. So it's the butterfly. We know it in the West as the butterfly, and this helps to broaden the neck of your uterus, of your the neck of the womb. It helps to dilate the neck of the womb and helps to broaden the pelvis. And this can be performed, you know, right throughout the pregnancy, and it's going to help the health of that part of your body. Here we have the soles of the feet together, and we're just walking those hip joints forward so that we're stretching up like a butterfly, and visualize yourself a bit like a lotus flower. So the petals of the lotus flower are your knees relaxing down, and you're stretching up. Visualize yourself on a beautiful, calm pond, and you're connected deep into the earth through the roots of that beautiful lotus flower, relaxing, allowing that sunshine to flow down, relaxing, smiling, bringing those shoulder blades together, opening up your chest, and just holding for about half a minute to 1 minute, and then you can increase how long you hold these postures, and just easing those legs down by putting those elbows on those thighs, and again breathing in where you can feel that stretch, keeping within your limits. Remember, you have to feel a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of the pang. Relaxing with the sunshine melting away. Feel that tension there in those groins. Breathe out through the mouth if that helps. In through the nose and out through the mouth to release that tension. And then see if you can walk your hips towards so that the ankles, the heels are close to that perineum. And then you're bringing yourself forward, relaxing, bringing the chin down. hinging from those hips, a little bit like we did. If you want to, you can walk your hands forward. Now that's about as far as I can go, but quite a tightness now in my groins. But as you're pregnant, you might find you can go all the way down, because when we're pregnant, the hormones, relax everything, and that's designed to open everything up, ready for when you give birth. And that will happen gradually, so certainly a couple of weeks before, you'll find that you'll probably be able to go all the way down quite easily, and all these joints will become more and more lax, so you're at an advantage. The main thing to remember is keep your practice up, because as you get older, everything gets stiffer again, and the more we relax, we can keep all these joints relaxed, the less diseases you'll have, like arthritis and rheumatoid problems. And also another thing to remember is you can also give these toes a good massage, because you're right there, and that's also good. Just gently massaging, particularly as we get older. Maybe not so much when you're pregnant, but as you get older, and you can rub the feet together like that. Maybe that's more for later on. For the time being, is practicing sitting like the butterfly. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come into the tortoise. So we have to relax, allow a bit of a gap here. So I take one arm under and then the other arm under, and I've turned so that my palms are down, and then just straighten the legs. Again, my joints are a little bit too stiff, but the idea is to get the chin down and to get the shoulders down on the mat. Straightening your legs if you can. Brings a lot of peace into the mind. Because our battery's running a bit low here, I'm not going to hold that for as long as I can, but you could hold that for a lot longer. Build it up. We're going to go back into the final posture now. And this is where we lie down into that butterfly. So I'm going to bring my hips so that my heels are virtually touching that perineal area, and this time you can relax with the arms, and you can just visualize that your hands are absorbing that sunlight, and bring that wave of relaxation down into your eyes, your mouth, the whole of the brain. Peace and relaxation flowing down into the shoulders, down the arms, into each finger. Anytime you need to stretch your legs back to a normal position, do that. And the arms, if your armpits, your arms get tight, bring them down, and you just bring them down like so, with the palms up and the legs up. But hold that for longer if you can. If you're not uncomfortable, just hold it for as long as you can. Remember, just bring your hips towards the ankles, towards the heels. And you stretch. Just watching the abdomen flowing up and down for a while, sending that beautiful sunlight all the way down to the baby. Visualize it as a light, and whatever colour is in your mind, you can send that light. Could be yellow, green, pink, a mixture. Send it
swirling beautiful energy and light into the baby, into your uterus, into your pelvis, all the abdominal organs. And the toes are pointing down into the earth where that root goes deeper and deeper, breathing up the earth's energy now. One thing I forgot to mention in this posture, you really should try and flatten out your lumbar area. So the lumbar area should stay flat, that's important. And also try and flatten out the top of the spine as well. And that might bring the knees up a bit, but that doesn't matter. So the whole of the spine relaxing now with that sunlight, breathing that earth's energy all the way up, just relaxing your legs down now maybe, and your arms. Bring the feet so that they're about 1.5 feet apart, feet splayed, palms about 6 inches away from the body. Breathing that earth's energy into the soles of the feet, relaxing you, calming you, refreshing each toe. And visualize it in the form of a colour flowing into the whole of the foot now, feeling into your foot,